tried to pull him down, and at this instant after I seen the object to the side, I wasn't able to see it again for a little bit. It fell with me. I probably pulled him half over, and as he got up, I was able to get up and control him until I went around the other side.
Welcome to the Lair of Darkness, my friends. I'm your host, the Dark Lord, and when I'm not trying to make the entire world my personal bitch, I'm here in my undisclosed lair talking about cool shit. Today I'm going to conclude my badass Bigfoot discussion. If I have not yet persuaded you to question your own beliefs already, be prepared to do so by the time I am finished talking today. We left off last discussion and wonder if they had ever found the dead corpse of Bigfoot frozen in ice. Before we get to that discussion, let me answer another question you people might be wondering. When did the Bigfoot legend begin? Let's say this, I have half answered that question, and I have half not answered that question. Bigfoot has been the subject of debate amongst society for years, even before it became a major legend. It just became a major legend in more recent times than ancient times. I'd say Bigfoot became a more bigger legend when his name was coined back in 1958, with cryptozoology becoming an official pseudoscience a year later. When Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin had their major hit encounter with the beast back in 1967, that's when the first legit piece of evidence came forth of Bigfoot's existence. Now, I'd say the Loch Ness Monster became a cryptic legend quite a few decades before Bigfoot did, seeing as the Loch Ness Monster became a world legend back in 1933, but I will discuss that legend later. To fully answer the question, Bigfoot was a legend amongst the Native Americans for generations, I'd say, but became an official legend amongst the world in 1958, when his name Bigfoot was coined. His fame was cemented when the Patterson-Gimlin Bigfoot footage was shot back in rose to international prominence. Now back to the first question. Have we ever encountered a possible deceased corpse of Sasquatch? We may have, but I sincerely doubt it, unfortunately. The reason I am asking this question was because in the year of 1969, a dead corpse of a wild hairy man, or Sasquatch, was discovered frozen in a block of ice in a sideshow exhibit in Minnesota. This specimen became known as the Minnesota Iceman, with others calling it the Cyberskoya creature. The location as to where this specimen was discovered remains a matter of debate. Some say it was discovered in Siberia, with others saying it was found in Vietnam. Many skeptics dismiss claims that this may be the missing link between ape and man. They also dismiss claims that this may be a Homo neanderthal due to the fact that the Homo neanderthals went extinct thousands of years ago. And of course, some say that this corpse may be a teenage Sasquatch. However, most people say that these claims are over-exaggerated, and that this specimen is nothing more than a hoax, believing that the corpse is just a fake man-like suit with long hair on it. This corpse appears to be about 6 foot tall, with 4 to 6 inch long, very dark brown hair on it. It also has a flat man-like nose on it. One of the arms appears to be broken, and one of the eyes appears to be falling out of one of the sockets. And this appears to be happening due to the decomposing of the corpse. The Iceman has been the subject of many carnivals, freak shows, and fairs in recent years. In 2013, it was sold on eBay and is now presented as at an exhibit in Austin, Texas. Those who attempted to study it more failed to do so because of the specimen's severe, gross-ass decomposing nature. Now, I bet you people are wondering why so many goddamn people are still skeptical about Bigfoot's existence to date. My guess is that there are more skeptical people among us than there are open-minded people. Well, that is pretty easily explained. When some people come forward with good substantial evidence of Bigfoot's existence, that evidence tends to gain fame and publicity, with the person or people gaining fame and publicity as well as well. For example, the Patterson-Gimlin footage. You see, getting plausible evidence of Bigfoot's existence nowadays is so difficult because of its desire to stay hidden. It is so talented, you can only get to have an encounter with it as once in a lifetime experience. Just because you go to a forest or heavily wooded area that is a hotspot for Bigfoot sightings doesn't mean that everyone that goes there will see Bigfoot themselves. You can go into a Bigfoot populated forest your whole life and never see it for yourself. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist, nor does it mean that those people who have seen it are liars. Another reason people discredit Bigfoot is because they are terrified and fearful of a creature like Bigfoot existing, because it is something different, and they think that if it's different, there is no way in hell it could exist. If you think that Bigfoot is out there, always plotting to attack you or somebody else, you couldn't be more wrong, because believe it or not, it is more afraid of you than you are of it, like spiders. Keep in mind that the Native Americans who have spoken of Bigfoot for generations have no reason at all to lie about what they see, seeing as they do not desire fame or fortune like many others do. Now, if Bigfoot really does exist, where is it most commonly seen? And I'm not just talking about North America, I'm talking about all over the world, because different cultures in the world have their own version of Bigfoot, such as Florida, where it's known as the skunk ape, Australia, known as the yowie, and the Himalayan mountains, known as the Yeti or abominable snowman. And now, how often are they seen or sighted? In North America, Bigfoot is most seen on the west coast from British Columbia all the way down to California. Washington State holds the record in the U.S. with 520 to 530 sightings a year. California with 420 to 430 sightings a year. Oregon with 220 to 230 sightings a year. Ohio with 220 to 225 sightings a year. Florida with 200 to 210 sightings a year. Illinois with 170 to 180 sightings a year. Michigan with 140 to 145 sightings a year. Colorado with 100 to 115 sightings a year. New York with 100 to 105 sightings a year. And the last, but very not least, Pennsylvania, in my home state of Pennsylvania, with 95 to 100 sightings a year. Now, which state in the country of Canada has the most Sasquatch sightings? With over 200 reported sightings every year, the state of British Columbia holds the record with most Sasquatch sightings, with Saskatchewan coming in at second place with 150 to 200 sightings a year. There have been no plausible or identifiable eyewitness reports for the existence of the Yeti or for the Australian yowie, for they live in harsher environments where even finding and bringing forth a footprint causes people to dismiss them as misidentification for a different animal, though there's still hope out there that maybe one day we may bring forth a more legit piece of evidence. But for right now, the chances of convincing evidence coming forth is too slim to none. Of course, there are many books and movies about Bigfoot. The most prominent movie, of course, is probably the 1987 comedy Harry and the Hendersons, which I have never seen and never will because of how incredibly stupid it looks. However, there is another Bigfoot comedy released far more recently that is actually worth watching, called Bigfoot the Movie, starring Pittsburgh Dad. I watched it and it was funny as hell, so I highly recommend it. A year before that one, however, another Squatch film was released entitled Exists, where teens accidentally kill a baby Squatch and the mother goes batshit crazy on their asses. The one Sasquatch movie I used to watch the most was Abominable, 2006, for which I watched on the Sci-Fi Channel. That one was about a man who watches how a man watches as a group of teenage girls are hunted down one by one by the bloodthirsty beast. Of course, there are plenty more Sasquatch films out there, such as Bigfoot County and Assault of the Sasquatch. Loren Coleman, the most well-known cryptozoologist and Bigfoot hunter alive today, has published many books not just on cryptozoology, but on Bigfoot as well, such as Cryptozoology A to Z in 1999, Mysterious America in 1983, and Bigfoot, The True Story of Apes in America in 1985. The book I really enjoy reading on both subjects is Monster Hunt, The Guide to Cryptozoology, seeing it has not only great fucking information on the subject, but damn nice pictures too. As I have said before, many TV shows such as Lost Tapes and Finding Bigfoot heavily dramatize encounters with so-called Bigfoot for fame and wealth. However, I went to my first Bigfoot festival last year and received a copy of a different show entitled In the Shadow of Big Red Eye, which, as it turns out, is an actual realistic show about encountering Bigfoot. This show demonstrates how Bigfoot is only seen when he wants to be seen by certain people. This show does not attempt to dramatize Bigfoot for prominence and vast wealth, but makes people understand that there are things out there that we don't understand and that do in fact live in the shadows. Bob Gimlin, the second man from the legendary Patty footage, has given detailed interviews in recent years describing what it felt like for him to experience this encounter. Let's hear some of what he had to say for the moment.
Patterson up all the time. While he had the camera up, working with it, I was riding back of him. It was a Saturday, sunshiny, bright fall day, October 20th, to be exact. And it was just a warm, sunshiny day, and we were just riding up alongside the creek, on the east side of the creek. And about 4 miles from where we were camped, Roger was just riding. Roger was riding in front of me. I was leading the little pack horse. We were basically going out to camp about 40 miles further out than we'd been riding. We'd been riding, making big circles around a bend in the creek. There one stood across the creek from us. And, of course, Roger's horse just went berserk. Well, mine did too, but I was able to stay on him.
I would absolutely love to have an encounter like that at least once in my life, but remember, having an experience like that only happens once in a blue moon. I'll set up for going to Bigfoot festivals and museums across the country, or even a bar such as this one. The one museum I plan on going to in the future happens to be 50 miles north of Bluff Creek, California, where it just so happens to be the location where Patty herself was filmed. This museum contains many Bigfoot things such as casts of footprints, pictures, maps, and awesome exhibits and souvenirs. I myself got a picture with Bigfoot and other creatures. Bigfoot, and he told me that what he thinks of people who still question his existence. Now, for those who say, I'll believe in Bigfoot and other creatures when I see them, have never seen other common creatures such as sharks, wolves, or even the giant squid. Yet they still exist, and let me add, they are no different than Bigfoot. So, we are left to wonder, is Bigfoot just a figment of our imagination? Or does it in fact live amongst the dark shadows? Stay tuned for the next episode from the Dark Lord, when I discuss the very controversial creature known as the Loch Ness Monster. Ciao, bitches.